send in the next candidate?
Yes, Miss Vandal.
Gertrude Vandal gave her desk one last scan before drifting her eyes over the door. Any moment, another displaced god or goddess would come waltzing into her office and demand a new position that was just as good, if not better, than their last posting. Deities, always so dramatic and entitled. Gertrude was a woman of average height with poofy orange hair and a pair of light green eyes. Her thin red glasses rested on her pointed nose. She wore a white blouse, a light brown skirt, and a darker brown blazer over her blouse. Any minute now, she would get another sob story about how dreadfully unfair the Pantheon merger was and why she, as a displacement specialist, had to work extra hard to find the right placement for them. Any minute now. A soft knock rapped upon her door. Well, that was a nice change.
You can come in.
The door opened, and a lithe woman entered the office. At first glance, she was a very attractive person, with softer facial features that were quite inviting, a pleasant smile, and a pair of vibrant brown eyes that glistened in the light. She was dressed in a tunic that fell to her mid-thigh, and she wore sandals. As the young woman sat down in one of the chairs in front of Gertrude's desk, she pulled a file from atop a small stack on the far corner of her desk.
Oh, hello. Are you Miss Vandal? I'm here for my 10 o'clock appointment.
Yes, I am. Please, allow me to review your file for a moment. Your case says your name is Eribnor, and you're a goddess of poetry, music, art, and theater. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, miss. Creative expression is my reason for existing, literally. I love inspiring people to tell enchanting stories, compose wondrous songs, and design the very best art they can.
That sounds quite lovely. It says that your Pantheon civilization was the Daruda, but they were conquered by the Ascianti, which is why you are here in my office. Unfortunately, there isn't an opening in your new country's Pantheon for an art, music, or theater goddess. That position is already filled, I'm afraid.
Oh, yes, by the goddess Latish Fafana. She and I attended the same deity liberal arts community college. I know my people are in good hands with her.
Well, the Ascianti Pantheon is looking for a new war goddess. Their previous god was let go after he sent too many inappropriate emails to colleagues. Anyway, if offered that position, what is your willingness to be aggressive and conquer other civilizations? There is a lot of room for growth.
Oh, well, that sounds like a wonderful opportunity. It's just that I'm not a very aggressive person. I love storytelling and would willingly write about and inspire others to create wonderful expressions about war, conflict, and battle. But I like to avoid conflict when I can. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What are you wanting out of your next position?
Well, my civilization spanned for the last 2,000 years, and in that time, I was able to oversee so many works of art, beautiful ballads, and stories set to stage. I would really like to do something in my field if I can help it. I mean, I know you're working really hard and I'm quite grateful to you. I can accept anything, I guess.
Okay. Let me see. Are you willing to relocate? If we're looking beyond your current area, we might have more luck.
Oh, yes, I would totally be willing to travel and relocate.
Okay. Let me do a larger search in our database.
Gertrude began flipping through search windows, and her fingers danced across the keyboard furiously. Eribnor sat there, and she kept switching her glance between her and the various photos and degrees hanging on Gertrude's wall.
So, how long have you worked for the Deity Displacement Department?
I've been working for the DDD for the last 308 years. Only 510 more, and I can retire. Oh, I have found an opening in a civilization about 1,000 miles away. It's not an artsy position, I'm afraid.
Oh, what is the position?
The Voiger civilization is looking for a replacement death goddess for their pantheon. Their previous one retired. It's a fairly laid-back position with some really nice perks. Multiple spouses, a legion of undead to protect the underworld. Oh, and a really good 401k.
Erebnor frowned, ever so slightly.
You know, let's just keep looking. Yes? No.
What is it?
There is an opening with the JdSarte civilization for an arts, theater, and music goddess. There are more downsides to this position than positives. According to our Oracle department, JdSarte is set to be conquered in about 1,200 years, so this placement would be a short-term one. There's also less pay than what you were getting in your last position.
So, if I did take it, where is JdSarte?
It's about 5,000 miles away in a lush jungle nation.
I like jungles, and even if the country gets conquered in 1,200 years, often stories and art last longer than civilizations. It could give me enough time to pick up more skills and prepare to do something else, too.
If you're interested, the JdSarte Pantheon HR reps have been trying to fill it for a long time. I'm sure they'd scoop you up.
Yes, please. I'm willing to start right away.
Great. I'll contact them, and they will be in contact with you. Go and check in with Mary. She can validate your parking.
Thank you. Thank you.
Erebnor left the office and gently closed the door behind her. A wide smile creased Gertrude's face, but it fell away as soon as she saw who her next appointment was. Bitter creeping started to fester as Gertrude pressed the call button on her desk.
Mary, is my next appointment here?
Yes, Miss Vandal. She has been here since before the start of your last appointment.
Okay. Send her through.
Gertrude had just opened the folder when someone opened the door. A tall woman with commanding sapphire eyes, a large and dominating nose, and a slight snarl stepped into the office. The woman was dressed in a dark green silk dress that went all the way to her ankles, but two large slits ran up the sides of her dress. A golden belt was around her waist, and she also donned golden sandals. The goddess had dark curly hair that fell to the bottom of her chin line. When Gertrude gestured for the seat in front of her, the woman closed the door to the office hard. She perched herself on the chair as if it were a throne, and beamed at Gertrude as a hawk might inspect a mouse. Silly goddess. She didn't know who the mouse and hawk really were.
Saradana, Queen of the Gods, patroness of quests, stories, and heroes. How wonderful it is to see you again.
Gertrude Vandal, let me first state that the conquering of my nation by the villainous Ascianti is deplorable. I demand retribution. Secondly, I require a satisfactory placement worthy of my exceptional skills.
Now, Saradana, you know very well there is nothing we can do about your civilization being conquered. It's a terrible thing to happen, for sure, but countries get conquered all the time.
But it's not fair! Do you have any idea how hard I worked to advance up the Pantheon? I started as a handmaiden to a sea goddess. I had nothing, and I slaved away until I was able to gain what I so rightly deserved. Under me, the Daruda thrived for the last 1,000 years. All that expansion 308 years ago, that was my idea. I lost everything.
I understand how you feel. I really do. I'm going to do my best to get you the best position I can, okay? I promise. Don't forget, I got you your job back after the insurrection.
I know. I have to start over again, after everything I worked for.
And all that experience is going to aid you in the next role. Now, what is it that you want out of your next position? That's as good a place to start as any.
Aside from getting another Queen of the Gods position, I suppose I want something with good career advancement opportunity. I am ambitious and career-oriented.
Would you be willing to accept a position in the Ascianti Pantheon?
Absolutely not. The last thing I would want is to have my poor conquered people see me thrown into a lesser role. No, if I'm to start over, I would require to start over somewhere else. Please.
Okay. Another Pantheon. Got it. Oh, there's a fertility goddess position with the Yogi Maru culture.
Pass. The most important thing to me is my career, and I don't have time to focus on having children of my own. Oh, not that there's anything wrong with children. It's just not something I want for me at this time. Besides, I've seen it 100 times. Usually fertility goddesses get pigeonholed into that career track once they get in.
Understandable. Let's see what we can find with possible advancement opportunities.
For the next 15 minutes, Gertrude scrolled through job posting after job posting. Meanwhile, Saradona sat there, elegant and poised, watching Gertrude with unblinking anticipation. And then, a job posting caught her attention.
Oh, here's one that might work.
I'll be the judge of that.
The Nixia civilization has an opening for a Goddess of Wisdom position.
A Goddess of Wisdom position?
Now, before you go all prima donna on me, hear me out. The Goddess of Wisdom for the Nixia civilization is an influential position. The last person in the role became an atheist and stopped believing in herself. And, well, it was sort of scandalous. Anyway, our Oracle department says the Nixians are going to conquer many nations around them in the next 2,000 years, which means significant opportunities for growth. And who's to say that, one day, you might have the opportunity to become the Queen of the Gods again? This is probably the best offer you'd get.
Very well. I will accept the position. Please, let the Nixians know I will start Monday.
Gertrude's words died on her tongue as Saradona opened the door to leave. She stopped for a moment and then glanced back over her shoulder.
I don't do this often, so listen well. Thank you for all that you have done for me over my career.
You're welcome.
Saradona left, but didn't close the door behind her. The chilliness of the hallway flowed into Gertrude's office. She hated being chilly.
Miss Vandal, your next appointment is here.
Please send them my way. My lunch is after this one, right? How many appointments do I have this afternoon?
7, Miss Vandal.
Oh, wonderful.
Gertrude opened the next file folder, and she began reading the next client's information. Name, Naxer. Previous position, War God. Strengths, combat, leadership, courage, military tactics. Length in last position, 2,500 years. There was a knock at her door, so Gertrude glanced up. A 7-foot-tall, extremely muscular person stood in her doorway. He was bare-chested, with scars covering many places on his shoulders, arms, stomach, and pecs. The war god was in great shape, with a visible set of abs and veins running the length of his forearms. He wore a pair of leather pants, dark brown leather boots, and he had a pair of light brown leather bracers on his wrists. The man wore a metal helmet with long red plumes coming off the sides of it. His eyes were dark brown and mysterious.
Good morning. May I please enter?
Oh, yes. Please come in.
Naxer came inside, closed the door softly behind him, and then sat upon the chair. He removed his helmet and placed it in his lap. A small black mohawk ran down the center of his skull, and the rest of his head was shaved.
Welcome, Naxer. I perused your case file and saw that you have 2,500 years of experience as a war deity. It's a shame that your civilization was conquered, but the good news is actually the Ascianti Pantheon is looking for a new war god. In fact, I'm certain the Ascianti Pantheon would love to have you. Would you be interested in getting in contact with them?
Actually, I was hoping for a change of career.
A new career change? So what were you thinking?
As you can see from my application, I've gained extensive experience as a war god. I've been doing the same thing for so long, and I will admit, I'm great at what I do, but I just want to do something else. To be honest, I'm tired of all the fighting and violence and just want something a little more relaxed.
I can totally understand that. So, what are you looking for in your next position?
Oh, it sounds really silly.
Oh, I'm sure it's not as silly as you think it is. Believe me, I've had some doozies in my day.
Okay. My next dream position is a fertility and love god.
You want to be a fertility and love god?
See? I told you it would be silly.
No, I'm just surprised. It's a major shift from your previous work.
Oh, I know. It's just that for the longest time, my followers fought and killed one another, and I celebrated victory through combat. Going forward, I would really like to promote healthy relationships, love, and have more babies born in the world. Babies are so cute with their little faces and little feet.
Babies are pretty adorable. Now, I did come across a fertility opening with the Yogimaru culture, but they were looking for a fertility goddess.
Oh. I've read that in the fertility deity industry. It's mostly female-oriented. I wonder if all the postings will require goddesses over gods. Maybe I should just stay a war god.
Well, hold on. They might be flexible. How about I call them?
You do that for me?
Well, certainly.
Gertrude brought up the posting on her computer, found the right number, and then picked up her phone. Her fingers danced across the digits, and then she waited. After 3 rings, someone picked up.
Hello, Yogi Maru Human Resources Department. This is Beverly. How can I help you?
Greetings, Beverly. This is Gertrude with the DDD. I'm calling in response to your fertility position. I have an applicant with me right now, whom I feel would be a great addition to your pantheon.
Oh, that's wonderful. We have been trying to fill this position for, 63 years. What's her name?
His name is Naxer, and he would be very interested in beginning his fertility career with your pantheon.
Did you say Naxer? As in Naxer the war god? Keyword, god? Our job posting said we were looking for a fertility goddess. How is that not clear? Can you not read?
It is quite clear, thank you. Do you know what else is quite clear? The fact that you haven't been able to fill your position for the last 60 years. It is also quite clear that due to your geographic location and civilization population, many applications see your pantheon as a less than desirable place to work. It's quite clear that according to our database, it's a job posting that has a higher click ratio than it does application submission ratio. It's quite clear that according to our Oracle department, your civilization has a 65% chance of getting conquered by neighboring nations in the next 500 years. Lastly, it's quite clear you have no idea who you're speaking to. Answer me this, Beverly. Do you want the position filled or not?
Yes, we do.
Then you should consider my candidate. Yes, Naxer was a war god in his last position. but he's a war god with over 2,500 years of experience. While he's settling into his new position as a fertility god, he could also train your current war god. With his help, you could lower your percentage of being conquered and also increase the longevity of your pantheon. Oh, that is, unless you want to be out of a job yourself.
No, ma'am. I don't want that at all.
Great, I'm sending you his information. There, it's sent. Now, I'm not saying you turning down this fantastic candidate would affect future applications for your pantheon, but I am saying that it will be noted in your pantheon profile if you're being too picky about the candidates we're sending you.
There was a long silence on the phone, with the exception of Beverly breathing into the receiver.
Does your pantheon trust the DDD to send you worthwhile candidates?
Yes.
Then you can trust me as a DDD professional on this placement. Naxxer's name, reputation, and his desire to be a great fertility and love god will aid your pantheon immensely.
Can he start Monday?
Can you start Monday as a fertility god with the possibility of cross-training this current war god?
Yes, yes! I can totally start on Monday, and I'd love to cross-train them.
Hi, Beverly. Naxxer will see you all on Monday. I'll give him the information. Anything else you need?
No, thank you.
Gertrude hung up the phone and smiled at the former war god. Tears welled in his eyes, and he grinned from ear to ear.
Thank you. This means so much.
I'm glad we could get you something that fits your interest. If you check in with Mary, she can validate your parking.
Naxxer stood up, gave Gertrude one last smile, and then left her office. Alone with the silence, Gertrude let out a satisfied sigh, and then she stood up from her desk. She reached up as high as she could, and her back popped in several locations. Her stomach jostled slightly, and she rubbed it affectionately.
All right, you two. Today, Mommy's going to introduce you to gyros.